Are you ready to talk about all the fun stuff? Like dating and falling in love. Are you ready for going Dutch? And Jake and Kane will make you smile. They'll talk about stupid stuff for a while. You will enjoy this a lot, or you're a f***. This is called Going Dutch. Thank you.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Going Dutch podcast. I'm Kane Holloway.
And I'm Short Jake.
That's right. We're the hosts of this brand new podcast.
Feels good.
I feel good about it. This all came from a show, a live show called Going Dutch, the dating comedy show. And Jake and I have done what? Like five of them? 4 or 5? Yeah. And we co-host a lot. You headlined the last one. You specifically asked to headline. You made me bump a few people up.
That's right.
And you wanted to do at least a solid 2025.
That's what I asked for.
Before I got up there and joined you.
Yeah, in fact, I remember saying that it's my venue. I can do what I want.
That's true. And you made a whole big scene and you started crying in front of the guests.
Yeah.
And but now we decided because of just the general love of the game that we have for performing and putting out content, we decided we have to do a show.
Yeah, because we love the game. Comedy I could take or leave.
Yeah.
What I care about is becoming a famous person that other people look at and go, wow, I want to hear what he has to say on life. I want his advice.
Yeah.
Not just on comedy and the things that he works so hard at.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what he thinks about dating.
Sure.
Maybe the Israel-Palestine situation.
Yeah.
Right?
And how both of them go together, dating in Israel and Palestine.
Right. If they maybe treated this more like a first date and instead of like crazy people, it would be fine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's why we're doing this, is because we know the demand is there for you to hear more from us on a more personal level.
Yeah. We know that you guys have at least missed hearing us talk in your ears for an extended period of time.
Yeah, and Santa reached out. He's been getting a lot of letters from children asking about a Kane and Short Jake pod.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're close to the big man, right?
Of course we are.
And getting a letter from the North Pole is a lot different than sending one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. When you open that letter, it's crazy. So we had to grant Santa's wishes because he has been a good boy this year.
Have you ever written a letter to Santa?
I did write a letter to Santa, yeah.
Yeah. And what did you ask for?
It was just like, back then it was like a lot of like toys or like hockey sticks. I used to play hockey, so it was like a hockey-related Christmas probably.
But you didn't ask him to like squash the beef between Israel and Palestine? That was my wish as a kid. I was way ahead of the curve before this ever got popular on Twitter.
You were really into geopolitics when you were
I
young.
was saying, 6, 7-year-old Kane, when he had hair. Yeah.
You're like, I can see in about 20 years, this is going to go haywire.
If they don't get their shit together, I'm going to tell you right now, the big man needs to be made aware.
Jesus can't help this.
No.
Right? We got to go
Obviously.
straight to the top, and that's Santa Claus.
I do love that Santa, Jesus, they all sort of, we all believe in all of them.
All of us.
For Christmas.
Every single person.
Like the idea.
Everyone believes in Jesus and Santa.
Like the idea of Christmas itself is funny to me, that the idea that there is like Christian parents will say, this is about Jesus' birthday. He was born.
Yeah.
He sacrificed himself. He opened up a few indie coffee shops, and then he died.
Great
or
entrepreneur.
Whatever happened with Jesus. But at the same time,
or whatever.
At the same time, they then tell their children, hey, also, there's going to be a guy who comes down your chimney and gives you presents. He has flying reindeer and elves that he has enslaved up in the coldest part of the world. And, he's going to be giving you gifts. And you believe in both of those things. You wake up in the morning, you open gifts from a magical elf man.
Yeah.
And then you go and praise Jesus' name in the church of whatever.
Yeah, the Church of literally whatever.
Whatever.
The United States of Jesus Christ, whatever. Yeah, it is. I think it's easy to believe in Santa if you already believe in God, and vice versa. So I think it's all kind of probably just a big marketing, ploy to just kind of easily, It's like if you do comedy, it's easy to believe that you should start a podcast.
That's what I'm saying. I've
So-
had many.
Yeah. So I think it's a nice sell. It's honestly like they are one of the best tag team duos on the planet, right?
Jesus and Santa, they
Yeah.
have good PR team.
That's a
too.
shake and bake, right
Yeah,
there.
it really is.
Yeah.
I also wanted to bring a little bit of the Going Dutch show, the live version of the show, to the podcast. So if you watch, if you're listening on whatever device you listen on or whatever platform that
You
you
got your
listen to the
Walkman
show.
or
Yeah.
your Disclaver.
If you have a CD of this show,
Yeah.
God, I would love to do that. A printed vinyl of the Going Dutch podcast.
We could easily do that for the cheap price of about $700.
Well, we're trying to make $1 million here. What do you know about it?
Well, the thing is that I didn't want to break that down for our listeners because I bet a lot of them have pea-sized brains that couldn't fathom $1 million whole dollars.
$1 million?
You know?
Can you even wrap your head around how many ones that is?
Think about this. This is episode 1.
Uh-huh.
Think about episode 1 million.
I know. Think about it.
Then take that understanding that you're trying to have and then turn that into dollars. Think of that, 1 million George Washington's faces. You couldn't. So anyway, let's just drop that.
Yeah.
So they don't have to deal with, stuff that they couldn't possibly fathom.
Think of that. That's what I've always known about when starting a podcast and being likable is you talk down to your audience.
Right.
Immediately, like right out the gate.
It's like dealing with a toddler, right? It's like I'm not going to just come right out and be like, hey, man, what's 8 plus 8? I'm going to show up and be like, hey, goo goo gaga, little baby poopy pants, and that's kind of how I feel when I'm dealing with my audience.
Well, also how you make friends. That's the first thing you said to me when we met.
That's right. I came up, I said, hey, goo goo gaga,
gaga.
poopy pants.
Poopy pants, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I got to do a podcast with this guy.
Which is why if you check out my other stuff, I have about 5 podcasts with toddlers. We're putting out content all the time.
But like I said, I wanted to bring a little bit of the live show. So if you are watching this on the YouTube channel, we have the Going Dutch bowl filled to the brim with not just dating advice questions, but also random questions that Jake and I have written in an attempt to spark a conversation or just surprise each other with random bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's the show. And then that's it. And then stop listening. That's the end of it.
But listen again when we release another one.
Yeah, because we'll have an episode too. Because we're trying to get to 1 million, like we said.
Think about 1 million.
Then double it.
Then double it. And then add a few. And that's going to be what this podcast is.
And how much money we'll be rolling in. And then we want to set the precedence now that we will eventually have millions of dollars, and then we'll be talking to you about the stuff we do with $1 million, the things we buy that people can't afford, like you and me. Like we can't afford it. But we want to get to a point where our audience can't identify with us anymore. And we want to start that now.
That's right. Ideally, I'm at a point where I'm flying first-class jets on your money. And I am so far above you in the sky in my private jets that I couldn't even understand how you silly, small, insignificant people even think that you're allowed to laugh at my jokes. That's the place I'm trying to get to. So if you guys could help me reach that goal, that'd be awesome. Like and subscribe for more content like this.
Yeah, please.
Recently, actually, I was getting on a flight, and the flight attendant said, hey, that bag won't fit. And I said, no problem. We'll just gate check it. It's not going to be a big deal. But just know that's the last time. Because after this podcast, I will, if you ever do that to me, I will kill you because I have a gun in that. So if you try to gate check it, you'll get a gun
in your face.
In your face. So anyway, that's a little bit from me. My name's Tom Segura.
Let's pull from the bowl and see what we got here. Some of these questions have also been written out by previous audience members of live Going Dutch shows. So some of these are dating advice questions too. And this one looks like your handwriting. Should you get a dog with your significant other? That you didn't write that.
I did actually.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Wow. Threw me for a loop.
as we both did.
Should you get a dog with? That was pretty good.
That was awesome.
Should you get a dog with your significant other?
The answer is maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason why I just hesitate is it's tricky because having a dog with your significant other makes it a lot harder to, whenever you're in a relationship, just inevitably throughout the day, you will at one point just be like, what would it be like if I just wasn't with this person anymore?
Oh, I know. And then you got to think about the transfer of the dog.
And there's so many things that would stop you from breaking up with someone. Like you love them a lot or you care about them. But the older you get, there's also like, I got to move out. I got to get my own couch. And then if you add a life to that,
I know.
oh my God, it becomes a lot more treacherous. But I think it's important to establish, like it's like a prenup. When you get the dog, you got to be like, all right, if we do break up, this is my dog.
Yeah, like a lot of my friends now are still sharing custody with, like, the breakup's bad, but then they have to share custody of the animal they got together. Yeah. Which felt like wasn't a thing when I was coming up. Like if you got a thing together, if you got a cat or a dog, like when my ex-wife and I broke up, we split we had 3 cats.
We split them in 3s.
We split them. We cut one in the middle, and I took
left it in the old apartment.
Yeah, we cut it. We killed it and cut it in half. And then I took the boy cat, and she took the girls, and then that was the division of labor. And then and that was it. But now people are like, okay, I'm gonna get Rufus Saturdays and Thursdays, and you're like, what?
I'm not doing that.
Just you take the dog. As much as I love my dog, because I have a dog with my girlfriend now, but as much as I love my dog, if like she decided to move just like an hour down the road, I'd be like, I guess she's yours.
Yeah.
If we have to then have that conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I think I do think. Well, my dog, fortunately, I got before me and Elise started dating. So, like, Lou has, like, become her dog through time. So, like, it's pretty easy in that situation to just be like, well, it's my dog.
Yeah.
But there is also that part of it where you can have that daydream of being like, but, if we broke up and she took the dog, I'm a free man. Mm-hmm. Then I could be really lonely all the time.
But think about how many girls you're going to meet with no dog now.
None. The funny thing is I am at the age and point where I don't think about breaking up to get with other girls.
No.
Never. That would like never. I've seen it. I've had dreams that have been fulfilled, and they're never what you think. But I do dream about just like free time. Just like not texting anybody.
Oh, yeah, not being beholden to a schedule of keeping up with the...
Just whatever it might be.
Right.
Like we have, like today. Perfect example.
I can't wait.
We went down to Dog Beach a week ago, and we're on Dog Beach. And Elise is new to San Diego, so she's trying to meet new people. She's trying to make friends. And this lady stops her when they're playing. Like, our dogs say hi to each other, and this lady just starts talking to Elise. And she's like, oh, my God, you're so nice. You're so fun. I got to get your number. Let's hang out. And I'm like, this is great. Like, you need this, person. Because, you need to make friends, whatever. Anyway, Elise starts texting with this lady, and she's like, I'm getting kind of weird vibes. And then she's like, will you go on a double date with me and her husband? And I'm like, sure, yeah, no problem. It's my first day off in 2 weeks, but no problem. I'll go get coffee with these fucking strangers. And the closer we're getting to this double date, the more Elise is like kind of signaling the alarms. She's like, she's being very weird, this lady. Okay. This lady's like saying funny stuff. I don't know how old this lady is, like, et cetera. And I'm just starting to think in my head, I'm like, what am I getting myself into? Because I had no part in this. This lady doesn't want to see me.
Yeah.
We show up. Her husband is maybe 55.
Oh, no.
Looks like from Trailer Park Boys. Like looks like
Which one?
the guy with
Bubbles?
the big fucking.
He looks like Bubbles.
He's got yeah,
Listen here, boys.
nice as could be.
Yeah.
Nice as could be.
I love Bubbles.
Couldn't say enough nice things about him. But I just had to like sit there and realize that we were kind of getting this. They were hopeful to con us into some kind of a pyramid scheme that they had.
Dude,
And we leave, and I go, just so you know, everything about that was sketchy.
Yes.
Like, they were so nice.
Of course.
And that's all that it can be and will ever be. But I just did that for you.
Oh, dude.
And I could have played video games with my boys. But instead, I did that, and I love my girlfriend. I would do it again.
Yeah.
But do I dream about that never happening again? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be great.
Dude, one time, so my ex-wife was on a plane and met this older lady and starts chatting her up, sweet as could be, blah, 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 tells her that they start talking about what they do for a living. This woman's like, oh, yeah, I'm in this fucking business where you tell two friends and they tell two friends, and next thing you know, you got $1 million. You're millionaires, right? And she goes, what do you do? And she says, oh, I'm a comedian. And she's like, oh, you'd be perfect because obviously you could go anywhere you want. When you meet two friends in like St. Louis, then they'll tell two friends in St. Louis, and then those people probably know someone in New Orleans.
And you're poor and desperate,
yeah,
right? You would
as
love
well-
money.
Of course. So then she's like, we're meeting up at this house in L.A. where all these people are going to be there, and we're going to hear from the head honcho. And then I'm like, so she's telling me this, and I'm like, this seems like this is a pyramid scheme for sure. And she was like, I don't know, she seems nice, and it's like disposable income. And I'm like, this random woman enjoys you enough
Right.
to give you an opportunity to make a ton of money independently of her own gain.
If it seems too good to be true,
Mm-hmm.
it always is.
For sure. Just
Every
like this
time.
podcast.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You guys are sitting here and you've heard $1 million a lot. So we have a perfect opportunity for you
to make $1 million. If you share this show with two people and they tell two friends,
we'll all be in the same exact position.
you guys will also have $1 million.
I know, and I know it's hard for a lot of you to understand $1 million, right? And we keep saying $1 million. Let me explain what that means to you guys.
That's $1 a million times.
Right. So start at 1 and just start counting until you hit $1 million, and that's going to be $1 million for you, okay?
After this show, when you're done listening, don't do anything else but count.
Start counting. And once you hit 200 or 300, you'll start to get the idea that it's a lot more than your little pea-sized brain could even possibly fathom.
So anyway, we get to the house, and I love how the call to action for us isn't like subscribe to the show. It's, I want you to count just to $1 million.
Start at 1. Start at something as simple as 1 and work your way up.
I love it. So we get to this house and I meet the guy, and I've been to quite a few of these kinds of things.
Yeah.
In my youth.
It's a big house.
It's a big house, and I've been to, like in my youth, in my younger years, in my 20s, where I wanted to make a quick $1 million, a quick get rich quick scheme,
an easy mill.
Yeah, I would. I've been to them, and then I take part in them, and then I'm out. However much money it takes to be a part of this thing.
Yeah.
And then they took all my money, and the thing that I'm trying to sell door to door is not.
It's a waste.
It's a waste of time. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of the time of the people I'm bothering now. So I have a ton of red flags as we're going there. But like you said, I'm like, she's interested. And also she hasn't ever been as desperate as me in these scenarios until this moment. Like we find ourselves in a situation where we need money. But I'm been through this. I've been dumb enough times.
You've been conned.
To know I'm smarter now.
Yep.
To know what we're probably getting into. So we get to the house. As soon as the guy meets me, that's what I do. I say I'm a comedian, but at the time I'm also an Uber driver and I work for TaskRabbit, and I'm like selling my plasma. So I'm like, but I just say comedian. Who wants to bother a guy with all the other extracurriculars that you do? So the guy's like, oh, I could definitely use you, and gives me the same kind of rundown about how like when you're in these different cities, blah blah blah. So then we sit and we listen to this guy's whole spiel, and the whole time I'm like, we're not going to do anything, and we're going to leave. So we leave. I'm like, yeah, we're not going to take part in
We're
this.
not doing that.
We're not doing that. 2 days later, she tells me, well, I got jumped on a phone with them, and they said it's probably going to be a good opportunity. I can't even remember what the thing they wanted us to sell was. But she was like, yeah, so anyway, we're probably going to have to, like, get on the ball because I just sent them $700. And I was like, what? What the fuck did you just do? And I sat her down, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be condescending. I swear to God, I've been in your situation. But what are you thinking? That's just like, listen to me. You have to get them to give it back to you. You have to get that money back.
Did she get the money back?
Yeah, but she had to pester them.
Yeah.
And then I told him, like, all right, then I'm going to meet with the guy. Tell him I want to meet with him and get this money back. And eventually, like, her and I became such pests, such a problem that they were like, okay,
Here's the money.
here's the money back.
Leave me alone.
Because they were like, it's a great opportunity. Like, don't squander this opportunity. I'm like, yada. I've heard this shit. Give us the $700 back. I'm not even fucking playing with you. Please.
Yeah.
You will never not see me. You'll hear from me and see me every day.
I have no hobbies.
Yeah.
Right? I do comedy. You know what time that takes place at? Night.
Yeah, exactly.
I have all day.
And it's like maybe 2 hours out of my day. As soon as I'm done, I'll drive right to your house, knock on the door until you hand me $700.
Oh, yeah, and I won't be mean.
No.
You won't be able to call the cops on me. I'm going to be nice, but I'm going to be there.
I'm going to be around.
Right?
It'll be annoying.
Right? Yeah. I'll get to know your kids.
Yeah.
I'll become your dog's best friend,
Mhm.
right? I will find if you need something,
Yeah.
I'll be the guy there to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm getting my $700 fucking
You're getting
dollars
it
back.
back.
Dude, my first experience, so fortunately my older brother was a drug addict, so he got involved in many pyramid schemes as a youth.
Yes.
And he was able to be like, these are all bullshit.
Yeah.
And kind of like walked me through what it looked like. But when I lived in LA, pyramid schemes look way different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've encountered the pyramid schemes that are like massive, where it's like basically a giant company that's an MLM.
Yes.
Those ones are a lot harder to, if you're new to what a pyramid scheme is or an MLM, it's really hard to discern that this is fake and bullshit.
Yeah.
But I told this to Elise today too. I'm like, if you ask someone what they do and they don't tell you,
Yeah.
they give you vague things. Like
Mhm.
I asked today, entrepreneur, we've been entrepreneurs for many years. You know, we've had this type of a business, we've had that type of business. And I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
Yeah.
What is that specifically?
Yeah.
What do you do right now?
Yeah.
And I figured it out as they were talking. And they messed up a few times in the way of asking, kind of like, they were like presumptuous with a few things.
Mhm.
Like he was like, yeah, as a comedian and as a musician, you guys obviously have to do a lot on the business side of things, you know, and that can be hard because you would rather just be musicians and comedians. And I'm like, why would you know that?
Yeah.
And why are you assuming that that's...
Maybe I like the business side.
Maybe that's why I'm here.
Maybe
I'm 28 and I've been doing this for 10 years, so clearly I know how my business works.
Yeah.
Also, don't flatter me.
Right.
That's how they get you. Is they start
Exactly.
inflating your ego and you start feeling good and and truly, they're lovely. I had more fun talking to them than I have at most of the shows I go to.
Yeah.
I have more fun talking to people who are trying to scam me for my millions and millions of dollars than I do with my friends and family.
Absolutely.
They were so kind and caring and inflated my ego to a point where I knew it was a scam and I damn near almost gave them everything I had. But as we're sitting there and we walk away, I'm just like, they said nothing. Anyway, when I was in LA, this chick named Tristan, red flag, right? Was like, you got to come, and I was giving her piano lessons.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, you got to come see what my company does. I think it'd be a great opportunity for you. And I'm 20 at the time, and I'm like, what? Oh, this is how she got me. She goes, will you come play at my company's event? And they'll pay us. I'll sing, you play piano, and, you know, you'll get paid. And it was great. They
Mhm.
did that. But I show up, and she goes, you'll really like this. You'll really like the speakers here, like the CEO of the company. This guy walks out, and he's this, like, Chinese-American man, like, extremely well-spoken. Like, he gives speeches for a living.
Yeah.
And he's so charismatic, and he comes out and he goes, I came to this country in 1996. $0 in my pocket. And I turned it into a multi-million-dollar business. Erupts. Like, cheers. People are going fucking nuts for this guy. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, okay, like, let's get to it. And he goes, I went and I worked this job. Hard work. And I went and worked this job. And I said, I don't have any time. I don't have any time for me. So I decided to hustle and take life seriously. And that's how I turned $0 into a multi-million-dollar empire. And I'm like, yeah. What did you do? Hey, what did you do?
Multi-millions. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. But also, how did you do it?
Oh, God, you're the best.
And it was
Tell
just,
us more.
It was that for 30 minutes. And he killed. He killed harder than I will ever kill in my life, saying 0.
I was mopping floors in a hallway of a hotel. And I said to myself, I'm going to own this hotel. And guess what? We did.
Yeah!
How'd you do that?
No, but seriously, how? No, seriously, write it down. That'd be useful information for everyone here who work for you.
I was flipping burgers at a burger joint you've never heard of, making pennies. And I said to myself, what if I made the burgers? And now I own a chain of burger joints all over South America.
I used to literally scoop ice cream for a living.
Woo! Ice cream!
Hard work. Now I am ice cream.
Yes! Ice cream!
And you could become ice cream too.
I'm a gold-plated cone of ice cream. And you could be a gold-plated cone of ice cream too, if you give me all your money right now.
You want to be ice cream, right? All right. We're going to dip into this bucket again after that. Dating advice cues. Are you in therapy?
I was for a long time. I'm so glad I got into therapy.
Yeah.
It takes a while to find. Somebody has a really funny joke. I wish I could remember their name, but they have a really funny joke where they're like, it's hard to find a therapist that you're compatible with financially. And I love it because that's so true. You're going to be giving your money away to somebody who, in theory, could be just completely manipulating your mind
100%.
into thinking everyone's against you. And the therapist, have you that story about the therapist who essentially takes over this guy's life, like this? I'm gonna have to do some research, but they made a movie out of it with Will Ferrell or a TV show out of it with Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd, and it's a true story about how this therapist essentially takes this guy who's like incredibly neurotic and like full of shame, and turns it essentially. Manipulates this dude into essentially giving over his business and his houses, and takes over his life, and then makes that guy start working for him as like a gardener in his own house. So the therapist would throw parties in his house in the Hamptons, and the guy would have to fucking like tend to the lawn and like do fucking chlorine shit in the pool, and
That's a success story.
it's pretty great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want that therapist.
I know.
Is that guy knows what he's doing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I am in therapy. I think that you just said the right thing. I think therapy is really expensive, so you have to feel like you're getting your money's worth. I think that's what people, when they just first get into therapy, they can just kind of choose it. They're just like, "Oh, I'll do a therapist."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, you gotta shop for your therapist, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of therapists will do like a meet over the phone or in person for free.
They do a meet cute.
Yeah, a meet
They
cute.
they give you a bunch of papers. They have a bunch of papers, and then you walk down the hallway looking at the papers.
Yeah.
Then you run into each other, and you drop all your papers. They get mixed up.
Yeah.
And then she takes her glasses off and takes the chopsticks out of her hair, and you're like, wow, she's beautiful.
And kind of racist for chopsticks. I'll say this. It's hard being in therapy when you're also ice cream. But I think it's been easier. The older you get, therapy gets better, especially if you have like a good therapist. But it is important to discern sometimes their advice is not always correct, right? Like they also are people who don't know everything, who are like trying their best to lead you in the right direction. And sometimes, your dad isn't the problem every time. And it can only be so much. My dad and mom created me, which is a monster. It's Dr. Frankenstein. It's like the story as old as time. It's like, but you end up empathizing with the monster and you realize that the monster has to accept its situation and move on from it.
Yeah.
You can chase your dad, and pretty much Dr. Frankenstein was you when you were trying to get that $700 back. He was just like, I'm just going to bother you and kind of kill your friends and family until you give me that $700.
Absolutely. I have
which
a
is
gun.
pretty cool. Yeah. The monster in Frankenstein really did have a cool gun. And he he was so annoying. Like he was just the most annoying monster in the history of time.
Yeah.
And like literally just like murdered anyone Dr. Frankenstein liked. Oh man, it's cool.
Yeah, the book is so much different than the movie.
The monster speaks and is cool
and kills sort of just out of what's the word I'm looking for?
It's like Freudian, man. It's like paternal love.
Exactly.
He's like, you don't love me, so I'm gonna just kill everything.
Yeah. Because I'm your son. Yeah.
You created me, and I'm a monster, and you don't love me because I'm a monster. Honestly, the older I get, the more I'm like, that is like the deepest shit.
I know.
That is brilliant
Yeah.
and a therapeutic nightmare, because it's like, on one hand, how do you tell this, just amalgamation of human parts, and he's disgusting to look at, right? And really wretched. Right, kind of like a Benjamin Button, like born an adult, gross, like so gross. Like you don't even want to look at him, and he wants to be treated as an equal, which is crazy, and immediately can speak English, which is the craziest part.
Yeah.
But it's similar to like my dad. My dad like made me, definitely regrets that, and would like if I had been a lot taller and more handsome and better. And he is a little bit bummed at the product that he made. For sure.
Yeah.
And I, desperately would like him to just be like, you know what, you are great. And I love you for whatever you want to be.
Sure.
Not for what I hoped you would be. And therapy if you go to therapy enough, and with certain therapists, they will basically tell you that what your parents did is the reason why you're the worst parts of you are because of, parents in society, which is true.
Yeah.
But that does not mean you are a victim of that, and it does not excuse your naughty behavior. And that is the difference between therapy in your young 20s and therapy in your late 20s is, yes, you are a victim. Let me validate all your feelings are fine. In your late 20s, it's no longer cute. You got to grow up. You got to change. Your dad doesn't matter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And you will, in fact, the older you get, start to empathize with both of your parents and understand where they were coming from despite them fucking up.
Right.
They fucked up and they're fine, and you need to grow up.
Yes.
God.
I went through all that. And, my dad, and I've touched on this many times in the course of my career, but like he had a dad like him, but worse. And my dad, even though it was awful, did pull back. I would hear stories of my grandpa and the torture he put my dad through, and realize like, whoa, my dad might love me a little bit more than I thought, because fuck, I would hate to have Vern as a dad. That sounds awful. Vern as a grandpa, great. He let me shoot his Luger, which now the more I think about it, he might have been a proud boy.
Tell me Vern had a gun?
Vern had a gun.
Dude.
He let me shoot as many rifles, and he built a cabin, and he had a 4-wheeler, and I ate deer jerky, and he was essentially he was great. And then you hear about him like as a man and as a real person, and you're like, oh, maybe he was a scumbag and an abusive father, husband, and general person.
Stern Vern.
But then, as much as I empathize with my dad, I also recognize like, hey man, you don't empathize with me. And so what do I do? I continue to try to prove to him I understand what you're going through, even though you don't understand what I had to go. Like, I had to have you as a dad. Now, I recognize you had your problems, but when I tell you my problems, you can't hit me back with, but I had Vern. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds awful.
It's impossible.
I had you.
It's impossible.
I had you. And I don't want to be a guy, if I have kids, I would always be afraid of that. Like, I don't want to be a guy that's like, but I had Marty,
That's the excuse. And it's like a trump card, right?
Yeah.
That's like the worst part about a dad's parental trauma, specifically paternal, is they always beat you with it.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of their play. It's like, yeah, I wasn't perfect, but I got beat.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay. But it's like, if we looked at like a crime, right? And you were like, you stabbed me. And you were like, well, I got shot. It's like, you still stabbed me.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't shoot me, but you still stabbed me. And that wound has to heal. And all I'm asking is for you to go, yeah, I bet that stab wound hurt, and I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it in the way it happened or whatever. But I think you just said it right. That's my biggest fear and why I feel like I think it is unethical to have children for many people.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can start to like diagnose what's wrong with you, you realize like that thing, I don't know if that's something that I can easily just like not have in me.
Mm-hmm.
Where like my dad simply, it's not a lack of trying. He cannot empathize with me. It would kill him.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm throwing fastballs at a catcher without a mitt, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like sitting there trying to like, he paid for my therapy for years and years. He was like, if you want to get therapy, I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Because I clearly fucked up. But then it's like in therapy, the idea of like going and being like, just tell your dad how you feel. Oh my God, if you want to have the worst night of your life, go and try to get your dad to apologize for something he did to you when you were 10.
Yeah.
It is the worst
Yeah.
thing you could think would go well. Like you have no clue what is going to be thrown at you because it's going to fucking hurt.
Yeah.
And you don't need it. You just need to know that he can't do it and he did his best. That's it.
Really?
And distance yourself from that person for a while.
Yeah.
Grow up and start to have some empathy because fuck man, when the pandemic happened, I moved back in with my dad and I was like, face to face with him every day. It was the worst time of my life.
Yeah.
Because I saw him as a man.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him as a dad, and I saw like our entire past in the eyes of a grown up. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You said that shit to a child.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling is crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm like I can remember this hockey tournament we were at where I got in a fight with this kid and I went to the penalty box and the kid's dad came over to the penalty box and was like, you fucking piece of shit, you fucking small little bitch, like I'll fucking kill you. And none of the parents on my team did anything.
Right.
And I think about that all the time and I'm like, I would never let, even now, if I was there, now, I would have gone up to that adult and been like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll stand in for this kid.
Yeah.
You want to have a fight, verbal.
Yeah.
Or physical. I'm taking this kid's jersey. I'm this kid now.
If I see a grown man leaned over in my kid's ear for any reason,
they're dying.
If they're not the coach,
yep,
I'm grabbing the back of their neck and pulling them away.
Yeah.
And being like, you're going to have to then say what you just said to him.
And they might turn around and kick my ass, right?
I don't care.
Because I'm not tough.
No,
but I would
neither am I.
never not do anything.
Yeah, of course.
That's the stuff that blows my mind. Or like, I tried out for some team and I didn't make it, or I tried out for a thing and I like all the moments where I failed and both my parents didn't know how to say anything to me.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the moments where I like, as an adult now, you look back and I'm like, if my fucking little brother failed at something,
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't just let him squander in that. I would just at least try. I'd be like, hey man, it was really not a big deal. You tried your best,
mm-hmm.
And that's what matters. Stuff like that. The cliche Hallmark bullshit really goes a long way, where the older you get and you look back and you go, you did what to a child?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The stuff parents do to their own children. And I'm not talking about like the really fucked up stuff, which is like, molesting and touching them and being all creepy. It's like even just the small, like emotional stuff that you couldn't look past yourself to try to give to a kid.
Yeah.
If you try to go to your dad and get any of that back, It's done. The
Mhm.
coins are in the machine. No refunds. It's said. It's done. If you're lucky, you have a parent who goes to therapy and comes to you and says, "Hey, sorry for X, Y, and Z."
Mhm.
That is not a rule. That shouldn't be an expectation. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen. That's something, man, you got to beat the fuck out of Gen Zs. They really think they deserve this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know how you feel, but it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because they can't do it. And it makes it worse. Sorry to talk forever, but it makes it worse that they have all the houses and they have all the money and they have the best economy. And they look at us like we're these small, stupid, insignificant fucks
Yeah.
who don't know anything about anything. And I'm like, it's amazing how unhappy you are.
Yeah.
You can have all the houses, but I will at least be able to, look at my friend who's a guy and be like, "Hey, man, I love you,"
Mm-hmm.
and not be like, "Am I gay?" And so what if I
You
was?
are, but that's a different story
Freak!
altogether.
I
What
freaking
the
knew I shouldn't have freaking said that. Freak.
story? No, you're right about a lot of that. I've gone and grown past the concept that my dad is the reason I am the way I am, and now, because I'm at an age where I remember my dad being this age, and everything he did, affected me, and he didn't take a lot of steps to be a better guy, just to anybody, even to himself. He just couldn't do it. And now I'm painfully aware of that fact. So I'm also getting closer to an age where it's just I can't let it bother me and affect me. And I also don't really even think about it. It's just that was a time in my life. And you have to move past, you do truly have to move past your parents' stuff, because you're going to then start making all of your own decisions based solely off of your wants and needs and all the selfish ways you go about your life, taking people for granted and all these things that you will eventually have to apologize for, specifically based on who you are as a person, not who your parents created.
Right.
You have to then, and it's really hard for people. It was really hard for me.
Oh, I feel like it's just I find new things each day.
Yeah.
Like every time I think I've beat it's like a level. Like I level up and there's a new harder demon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, fuck. It's like Elder Scrolls, bro. It just never fucking ends.
Elder
anyway.
Scrolls. I played Elden Ring. I'm not one of those guys that likes games like that,
Yeah.
but I was dating a girl she was like a weeb or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And she was all about Elden Ring and Christ. That's the hardest fucking video game I've ever seen in
Impossible.
my entire life.
It's so annoying.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I hate that game.
Yeah, same.
I hate it.
I'm not
and
a big
also,
fan.
I kind of couldn't stop playing it for a while.
That's how it
And I
gets
was
you.
like, this isn't my jam.
Bro, that's like trying to get your dad to apologize.
It
That's what that
really,
game-
yes.
The game gives you the same feeling.
Oh my God, I wanted to kill myself. I couldn't take it anymore. What's your favorite water sport?
This is great.
What's your favorite snow sport? Favorite summer shit? Favorite winter shit?
Oh, dude, this is great. Surfing,
Uh-huh.
skiing,
Uh-huh.
summer shit.
Yeah, what's your summer shit? What's your summer
dude.
shit?
I like to rip spike ball, but also, dude, just being on a lake on a boat, country music, that's top tier.
Tell me about it, stud. What's your favorite winter shit?
I like to drink in the winter.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your drink?
Like I like hot toddies.
Hot toddies.
Like hot bevies.
Man, hot toddies are so good. Hot toddies almost made me start drinking again.
Sure.
Because they feel so nice to just smell.
Well, the nice
Ugh.
part about hot toddies though is you can
Zach?
omit the
Yeah.
fucking whiskey and it still rules.
It's great.
Ginger, honey, lemon,
Ugh.
cinnamon. Are you fucking kidding me?
But then you throw some whiskey in there and your night's completely different. You're fighting with your girlfriend.
It can happen that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I like a good cabin. I'm not much of a camper, but if you get yourself into a cabin on a snowy mountain, you can have like a fire. It's just you and your girl, or maybe you and a group, and somebody gets murdered.
Yeah.
And then it's a whodunit.
Bro,
That's my winter shit.
I would love that to be my winter shit this year. all I want from Santa for Christmas is to one of my closest friends to die in a whodunit situation, trapped on a mountain town. And I want to wonder which one of my other friends did it.
Yeah.
I lost 2 friends that trip. And I have to wonder who I am, that I was friends with a murderer.
Yeah.
And with some pussy who got murdered.
Yeah, that's exactly. You have to then also worry about your own life and the life around you, and it could be your girlfriend who's the murderer.
Oh my God, it could be you.
Could be me.
Dude.
I could be the murderer.
I would love to just get down with a sweet slit murder throat.
My favorite summer shit, I do like a good chilling on a boat. I had some friends who had a boat, and then they lost their boat because of the recession, so now I don't have any friends with boats anymore.
You lost those friends too.
And I lost those friends. I don't need them. They don't have a boat.
I hate those friends now.
I used to love kneeboarding.
Oh yeah.
Was huge about kneeboarding.
Behind
a boat, baby. You get
Nice.
behind a boat, you kneeboard. I loved a good IPA. Blue Moon was my beer for a while.
Oh nice. A wheat beer.
I become such a fucking such a basic bitch that I love a good pumpkin spice thing. So when fall creeps in,
Bro.
it's
pie?
still kind of summer here in California. So like in September, even October, I know we're in fall, but it's still very summer-esque.
Yeah.
And so, I used to drink a lot of pumpkin beers, but yeah, my favorite is to, like I said, I'm not much of a camper, but I would like to go. I'd like to get in like an RV, go find like a campsite, and then one of my friends get murdered.
Dude.
That's my summer shit.
I honestly could use a little trimming from my friend group if I'm completely honest, and for it to happen in like a fun way.
Yeah.
I'm not down because I know I'm going to lose one of them to like cancer or like, and it's like I'm just saying it like this. I know I'm going to feel sad when you get cancer, and for saying this I might feel partly responsible because I still believe in that weird magic shit. But I think that if instead of cancer you could choose to become a murderer and murder one of my other friends in an isolated incident in, say, Mountain Town or Beach House. Or, right?
Zach, did you feel that? That was
Yeah.
good.
Or maybe in a mansion in Breckenridge.
Obvious.
I think that would be a nice thing for you to do. I think that would be the decent thing. And
Yeah.
I think you getting cancer is the coward's way out.
Sure.
Instead, as soon as you get the diagnosis, choose which friend you're killing. Invite me on the trip. I'll know it's happening. I'm not an accomplice, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But I do want to be a part of that.
Yes.
And I think you're exactly right. That is our summer shit and our new winter shit, and
Yep.
we should start to get on board with that. We should sell them like games, like those like game night where they like come and they pretend to kill someone, but they actually do.
Yeah. Yes. And my lady and I were like when you and I started becoming friends, and then we started to get to know your girlfriend. The more stuff we do together, she was like, these feel like friends we could travel with.
Yeah.
Like if we book shows or whatever, these feel like friends that we could go and like get an Airbnb with, and like even if we're not doing shows, just like, hey man, we're gonna go to Palm Springs. You want to roll?
Like what friends do.
Like that's what friends do. That's what the cast of Friends used to do.
And
They would go to Vegas
we just
and
need a
propose to
couple
each
more ancillary members to add to our group, just kind of like B-listers.
Yeah, so they could get killed off.
Yeah. In our plot line, right? We're main characters. We need some secondary, like NPC type idiots who can just die for us.
Okay, I have a new.
Thank God.
I'm at a new tradition.
Get me off this topic.
No, I'm gonna keep it on the topic. I have a new tradition for when we have guests on the show.
Yeah.
Is how long do they think they would survive on our summer or winter murder shit? Do they think they'd be the killer? Do they think they'd be the last girl or the last guy? Do they think that they'd be the first murdered? Where are they within the group? And that'll be our new thing. You and I obviously aren't the killers.
Right.
And aren't being killed.
We can't be.
We're the main characters of said idea
Right.
and story.
We need people to finish the film.
Right.
We need someone to get to the end of the book, right?
Yeah.
If it was Harry Potter getting murdered in book 2 and it became Hermione Granger and the Prisoner of Azkaban, no one would watch that dumb shit.
Yeah.
People are in it for Harry Potter. Listen,
Yeah.
he's Harry. I'm fucking Ron. Okay?
Ron.
Main characters. You don't kill them.
You don't kill
kill their
Ron.
brothers.
Yeah.
You kill their sisters.
Yes.
You kill their siblings, their moms, their dads.
Their dads
Why?
especially. Yeah.
Plot device.
Exactly.
Get you to empathize with us. That's
Yeah.
why
Uh-huh.
we tell you about how hard our life was earlier. Rewind therapy. So you think that you should empathize with us. So therefore, you believe our whole story.
That's what I have been saying this whole time. Also, I just got to say, and I know that you say I'm Harry, you're Ron. I couldn't hate somebody more than the character of Ron fucking Crybaby Weasley.
He sucks.
Holy shit. I wasn't even a fan of the series. I didn't read the books as a kid. I thought it was dumb. I'm not into fantasy. All of this nonsense.
Sure.
Then all of the movies get released on HBO Max or whatever, or HBO, whatever their fucking app was at the time. And my girl at the time was like, well, we have to watch all the Harry Potters. And I'm like, all right. The first Harry Potter is like a Christmas movie.
For sure.
It's pretty great. I think it could be in the rotation with Home Alone and How the Grinch Stole Christmas and A Christmas Story.
It's a bunch of pranks.
It is. It's pranky. And at the end of it,
Pranksters.
Voldemort's in some guy's head.
I know. It'd be
Spoiler alert.
It'd be like at the end of Home Alone, Joe Pesci was in the back of Marv's head.
Do you have did I tell you, I already told you this, my fun fact about Home Alone.
I forget though.
Okay. And Zach, you haven't heard this, right? So, fun fact about Home Alone. Joe Pesci was like cursing a lot during like the filming, which is why he has the fricka frack, that whole thing. And so like, but they were like, Pesci, you got to stop cursing around the kid. This is a kids movie, like essentially a family movie. So they said like instead of like, could you say the word fridge instead of cunt?
I love the idea of I love this idea that they're like, hey Joe, do you mind not swearing in front of Macaulay? He's a kid. And then they're like, oh, here's Michael Jackson to pick him up.
Why'd you do that? I told you not to do it. That's my Joe Pesci. That's my favorite scene in Home Alone.
Him saying that to Michael Jackson after.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you touch that kid? I told you not to do it. You're sick. You're sick. You know that? You're sick.
That really makes a new definition for wet bandit, huh? Really though, Michael Jackson was the original wet bandit.
For years until his doctor killed him.
Yeah,
And that's the true hero.
dude, no one talks about it, but that doctor is a fucking hero
Yeah.
and a murderer.
And murderer. So that's important. You want to poll? And then we'll get to
Yeah.
Freak of the Week.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to talk about the
Freaks.
Oh, this one, yes. How does sobriety impact dating for you?
It's a mixed, tricky bag, really.
Yeah.
Truly. The idea of me being sober is not difficult for me. It's difficult for other people.
Right.
I can stay sober and be fine. People, I do, however, I'm like, there are times where I'm like if my girl's like really hammered and like knee walking and it's just like,
Knee walking?
yeah, where she's essentially like falling on her knees and
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, I have to pick her up and like all that kind of stuff. It's like after a while, it's a lot less cute and more like, okay, well, let me pour you into bed and all that. And that's times where it's like let's try to eat more before we go out and you take a ton of shots. Because I don't mind people drinking around me. And all that stuff. And if it's like consistently like, which it's not for her, but when people are consistently drunk around me, I become less and less interested in them as
For sure.
people for me to want to be around them all the time. And a lot of times if I'm on a date and I'm sober, their reaction is like, do you mind if they want to ask me 1,000 questions, which is great. But then they tend to drink for two. And then they're hammered, and then I gotta be like, well, This date's over. You need a ride home or whatever.
This
Like,
date's over. Figure out how you're getting home.
but like now I have to like accuse myself because you're
Hardest
fucked up.
The hardest part about being sober is wondering how all those women got home.
No idea. I haven't seen them.
Yeah, I don't mind if you drink. Get home safe.
But yeah, it's more uncomfortable for them than it is for me.
Yeah,
I found.
dude, I feel like obviously like my brother was a heroin addict, and I was surrounded by like drug addicts my entire life, which those folks, when they're sober, it's not as difficult. It's more like Frodo and the One Ring. It's like there's like this thing that they could go find, and it's like this super powerful thing, but it's like you'd have to go search for it.
Yeah.
And you know, there's people around you who are like, you're acting like a fucking freak. You know, we need to destroy this thing. Everyone is on your side that you shouldn't be near that ring.
Yeah.
When you are an alcoholic, it is a different thing.
Yes.
Because I find this even in my own life. Like when I invite a friend over and they're not even like a sober friend, but they're just like, I don't want to drink tonight. I'm sad. I'm like, what the fuck? Why'd you even come over?
How do we hang out sober?
But it's like,
what?
There's so much implied with, I don't want to drink. It's like, oh, so you're some fucking health nut now? Like, oh, you're on some kind of cool liberal diet? You woke bitch?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Where it's like,
I hear you there.
it's this dumb thing where I think like everyone knows alcohol is poisoning your body. But it's also fun if you can, you know, handle it.
Yeah.
But it's like this weird thing where I don't know why it becomes personal, but I feel like this is true across the board because I have gone through times in my life where I'm not drinking. I'm sober from everything. And it is a hassle. It's different when you were an alcoholic because it's easy to be like, I'm sober because of this. And everyone's like, all right, yeah, no worries. But if you don't have a reason, it feels like you need a fucking reason.
Sometimes it's just too much work. I say this to people who are struggling with alcohol and trying to figure out if they're an alcoholic. If you think about everything that goes into essentially being an alcoholic, trying to come to terms with the idea that you might have a problem, you have to think about, and also if you should get sober or not. Being an alcoholic is very hard. It's just so hard to do it, to be a part of it. The work involved is really hard. If you're a practicing drinking alcoholic, the amount of effort you have to put in to going to the store, scrounging up money, buying specifically just alcohol. You might even have to forego food because all you do is spend your money on booze because you need to get drunk. Then you're drinking, which is also now become a chore. Drinking's a chore. Then the feeling you have the next day is a chore. Getting your shit in order and together. Fuck, I gotta then go to work and I'm hungover and like I gotta lie to everybody and I gotta brush my teeth because I gotta hold my breath around my girlfriend or whoever because I gotta hide that I'm hammered right now at this event. Versus being a sober alcoholic, just as much work. You have to go to meetings. You have to talk about your feelings. You have to write it down. You have to meditate. You have to do everything under the sun outside of drinking that's positive and healthy for you. But since both of them are a ton of work, only one you lose everything, and the other one you gain everything back to a certain extent, depending on how destructive you were. But it's difficult to be an alcoholic. So you just have to choose which hard thing you want to do. If you're like, fuck it, I'm going to just wreck my life, well, then I will accept that. I can and will accept that.
Yeah.
You know, but if you want to get if you want your life to be better, then you just have to. You have to stop drinking. You just have to.
Oh, man.
And it's hard, but the other side is just as hard because
Right.
no one likes you. No one likes this guy.
Right.
And everybody will at least respect this guy.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. When I was in high school, I would never do my fucking homework.
Mhm.
I would cheat. And I would try to cheat on anyone I could, and I would fucking hunt down someone to find anyone who would let me cheat. Took more time than just doing the fucking homework in the first place. Right? And that's like, it's so weird the older you get, because I think it's like, whether you are, addicted to drugs, whether you're an alcoholic, whether you're a fucking workaholic, whether you are fucking a self-destructive codependent who can't stop doing this thing, the things that ruin your life are, like you said, and that's such an interesting thing, it is hard to do. You are taking action to ruin your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just happening to you.
No.
You are actively a part of your own self-destruction. It is such a fucking conundrum because, dude, I feel like this way, it's just like completely a pivot, but in terms of like, I never want to do the fucking dishes.
Yeah.
And they just start piling up,
Yes.
and then it becomes easier not to do them, but then it becomes this fucking, it becomes work to ignore it and to pretend it's not bothering me. It like, I start working as hard as if I just did it to not do it.
Right.
It's such a fucking weird thing.
Yes.
And the older you get, it's like the systems that you set in place are the only thing that are holding you to a healthy life.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if you are like, oh no, I don't have any problems, I have this and the other. I promise you, if you scratch under the surface, there's just things that you're just avoiding. It's so fucking weird. I don't know.
For sure.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. You want to get to our next segment? Do you want to do the theme song?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Was I supposed to write a theme song?
No, you just whatever.
Oh, yes.
Here we go. This is our segment song. Here's the theme song for it.
This is called I'm a Freak and I Know It. I'm a freak. I didn't eat today, but I drank a lot of espresso. I'm a freak. I didn't sleep last night, 'cause I drank a lot of coffee before bed. And I'm a freak. And everyone knows it. No, I'm a freak. But I want to change it. Yeah, I'm a freak in the sheets. And you should really know it. That's an invitation, ladies. That's an invitation for you to get freaked.
We're in Freak of the Week. I can't wait for that to always play every episode for a million episodes. I'm a freak. God, I love it so much. What's your Freak of the Week, Jake?
My Freak of the Week is most definitely Hamas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty freaky.
It's freaky.
Yeah.
What are they doing over there? Guys, knock it off.
Yeah.
Stop throwing stones around your glass houses and such.
Right.
Is the phrase I would say.
Right.
But also, I do love everyone's take where they go, which side should I take? Because what's the good side? I don't want to look like an asshole.
Right.
So is it Palestine?
Do I?
Israel?
What do you believe?
What do you is good? What's a good side?
I'm
do
good.
You know the politics to have an opinion? Then make your opinion. Or shut the fuck up. I would also say.
Yeah.
The Freak of the Week are the people who don't understand it, and I would go so far as to throw myself in there.
I don't get it.
Which is why I don't make a lot of grand statements about whatever.
I will say this.
You guys like that sentence?
Yes. I don't take grand statements about whatever.
Whatever. Because I'm a freak.
And let that be a lesson to all of you. I think that when we look at the state of the world, it's not looking good.
No.
Vladimir Putin was our Freak of the Week about 4 to 5 months ago, and he's maintained that status. He's a freak.
Freak of the Week. Yeah.
But, there's a part of that where you just go, he's a superpower. He wants something. Just kind of, it's going to happen.
Of course.
But Hamas is a terrorist organization, and they should be stopped.
Yeah.
But how do you stop them? It's like when that black kid in Prisoner of Azkaban is like, Sirius Black, it's like trying to catch smoke. And it's just like, that's kind of how it feels trying to get terrorists.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of silly little freaks. And
They are.
doing their little freak things. And
You need a competent counter-terrorist agent a la Jack Bauer
yeah.
from 24.
Or Spartan Master Chief 117.
Yeah, somebody who can deal with big events like this.
Because we can't.
I'm not Jack Bauer.
No.
You're not Grandmaster Chief.
I'm not Black Jower.
You're not Black Jower either. And so, a lot of times I wish there was a Superman, but if you were to then think about it, really, if we were to get a Superman, he'd be a little more Homelander.
Oh, it'd just be Homelander.
He'd just be Homelander. And that's sad.
I can't believe that I watched that show and I just go, this is exactly how it would be.
This is exactly what it's like.
Yes.
It's exactly
correct.
what it's like. The greatest thing they ever did was parody our real world.
Right.
Whereas if you know about The Boys comic, it doesn't do that. It just takes full shots at comic book characters.
Oh.
It lambasts, so Homelander, of course, is Captain America and Superman wrapped into one. But there's also a Captain America-esque person with Soldier Boy, the first superhero ever. You got this. But the thing that the show does the best is take our real world and throw it back in our faces.
Yeah.
A-Train's Pepsi commercial.
It's perfect.
So they fucking crushed that.
Yeah.
And it really, the show makes us look so dumb.
Yeah.
I watch it and feel shame for us as a culture.
Right. I feel like it's very similar to what we were actually just talking about the freak of the week, because we really don't know anything. I don't know what's going on.
Mm-mm.
And I'm not going to weigh in. I just know that there's a freak over there.
Yeah.
And it was this week.
Yeah.
But who was your freak of the week?
Oh, man. Okay, so I got one. I found it on Reddit. And oh no, I might have lost it. Oh no. Wait, maybe I screenshotted it. I did so much oh, here we go. Am I the asshole for masturbating in bed next to my wife?
No.
Yesterday morning I woke up, she was already awake and beginning to get out of bed. I was enjoying my day off from work and massaging myself slowly. My wife asked what I'm doing sarcastically. I told her, come back to bed. She said she's already up, so I roll over and continue to browse my phone and start touching myself again. She tells me to stop after a moment. I ask why I can't touch myself and you don't want to come lay down with me. So she says she doesn't know. It just bothers her. Masturbation should be a private thing. Am I the asshole for thinking I should be comfortable masturbating around my wife? We have plenty of sex, too, usually at nights. I don't mind her being awake before me, and it's her choice if she wasn't in the mood for morning sex. That's why I take care of my needs myself. My freak of the week is just the concept that you wrote that in to then go, am I the asshole for jerking off next to my bed? I don't jerk off in front of my girlfriend because if I start doing that, we'll have sex. But if I'm trying to have just a real quick spank session, I recuse myself to the bathroom, and I spank it out hard and fast.
I like the idea that this guy is like, hey, am I the asshole for masturbating in bed? And it's like, next to my wife. And it's like, no.
Mm-mm.
But to write all of that out.
Yeah.
In the really weird, delicate detail that you just did.
Massaging myself?
You're an asshole.
Yes.
You're such a fucking asshole.
Yes, and you're a freak. Because
you are a freak.
I hate the way he wrote it. I hated the way he wrote it. I start massaging myself. What are you doing? Are you writing a fucking sensual novel, stupid? I don't want to hear you talk. Just say it. So I started jerking off or masturbating. Those are fine. But this massaging myself slowly, gross, man. Or why are you trying to lull me in? I don't want it.
Why are you trying to convince me it's okay that you are doing what you're doing? That's what I don't like.
Yeah.
Right? You asked a question.
Yeah.
It's a yes or no.
Yes.
Is it okay if I beat off next? Yes.
Yes.
Who gives a shit? Honestly, there's some kind of weird. Rogan talked about this in his stand-up years ago, where he's like, there's something about masturbating next to your sleeping wife that is like the most amazing thing you can do because you're not supposed to do it at that time.
Yes.
You know? Where it's like that's what so much of our like romance is tied to, like naughty, like what we're not supposed to do. But it's like to then write out the way you like to explain that you and your wife. This is the most absolutely chilling detail of this whole escapade is him being like, we have tons of sex at night.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that she gets out of bed before me. It's like that wasn't brother.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be like, could I get a sandwich and someone gives you a pizza? This is the weirdest thing I've ever listened to. That's like reading porn comments.
It is.
It's the
It
same
is,
energy
yeah.
as a porn comment.
I can't.
Dude, it's
I'll see him.
disgusting.
I see him and I'm like, God, this makes me not want to do this right now.
Oh, it makes me look in a mirror.
Yeah.
It makes me see what I am.
Yeah.
As I read the comment, I'm like, you're disgusting. And then I'm like, I'm here.
Dude, remember? Yeah.
I'm right here.
Remember in 2016 when there was that like dude, that big dude with the glasses, like this sweet little guy who stood up during the debates between Hillary and Trump. Do you remember any of this?
No.
This big dude stood up and he was like, there's been a lot of fighting. There's been a lot of things said, mudslinging. But what's something nice that you two could say about each other to bring some sense of unity? And he forced Hillary and Trump to figure out something nice to say to each other. And everyone was like, I think his name was Ken. And everyone was like, Ken, the sweetest little baby doll in the whole world. What a little sweetheart. Oh, my God. Everyone should protect Ken. He gets internet famous for like a week straight. Then somebody finds one of his comments on Pornhub. And then everyone's like, this guy is a scumbag and tries to ruin his fucking life. And
What?
the comments weren't crazy.
Comments?
It was like, yeah, he just would comment on the videos. He would just say little comments about like
Under his name?
under his own name, yeah. He was a freak of the week back in 2016.
Bro, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I know.
Making an account, number
I
one.
know.
I don't understand.
It's free. It's free.
You freak.
You're a freak.
It's literally free. I've never understood it. I've never understood the idea of ruining porn for yourself. It is something that you should be ashamed of, and you shouldn't do, and it's really fun, and I'm really proud that I do it, and I know way too much about it, and it's part of our culture. It's a cultural phenomenon. I don't think, and I take this back, I don't think you should be ashamed of watching porn, but I do think
no.
making an account is strange
That
to
is
me.
odd.
And I'm not trying to shame you out of doing it because maybe it's great. Maybe there's like preferences. I have a friend who swears at getting the YouTube thing with no ads. He's like, you got to get YouTube with no ads. It's $10 a month, YouTube, no ads. And I'm like, you're out of your fucking depth.
Yeah.
You're out of your fucking element when you're talking to me. Like, who the fuck do you think you are?
Why would you address me in that way to say to me, YouTube free no ads, premium $10 a month? You got $10 to give me?
That's what that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you're telling me you got 120 extra fucking burning a hole in your pocket that you're just
Dog.
going to hand me
For
over
free YouTube?
for 30-second clips, right? That I'm
Yeah.
just like, and when I get high, I watch the entire commercials.
Of course.
Because I don't even know what's real anymore.
No.
I don't get, it's the same idea though. It's like, you could just watch YouTube for free like everyone else.
Yeah, and just get HelloFresh. If you just get it, then you'll stop really seeing shit
Or
about it.
BetterHelp.
Yeah,
right?
get BetterHelp. Get a. It's both come in a box, and you.
Therapist in
There's
a
a
box.
therapist.
Just like put them together.
Sprinkled up in there.
I don't understand people who make accounts.
Mhm.
I could understand like getting a subscription to say like a Brazzers account or something to see what it's
Brazzers, yeah.
like,
Sure.
right? Or
Yeah.
like doing like a Naughty America or like something
Naughty
where
America.
you're like, I want to see what this is like.
Yeah.
I personally have never done it. I think I should at some point in my life just to experience what it's like to have like that access to like
Sure.
just it's got to be a gigantic catalog of like well-produced porn.
Yeah.
But the
Uh-huh.
idea of going to a free porn website, creating an account under your actual name, and then commenting under the things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you can't leave a porn comment that isn't the most disgusting thing you've ever read.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no way to do it.
No.
What were his comments? Do you know?
I don't remember, but they were.
We're going to pull those up.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're going to have those.
Guys, you remember Ken? If you remember Ken, send us what Ken said, and how it ruined his life, and how he got fired, and his wife left him, and all that.
For real?
Shit. I have no idea, but
Oh
it
my
wasn't
God.
fun for him. It was like that guy who caught the Cubs fan who caught the home run that would have been a caught ball and ruined the World Series that year for the Cubs, and everyone wanted to kill him, and he had to get taken out of.
With security?
Yeah, with security.
Really?
And then people were like, I'm going to fuck it. People in Chicago were going to kill him. Because, like, the Cubs obviously had the Cubs curse for a while. And he caught a home run ball that would have been caught by the outfielder if he would have just kept his little mitts in his pockets during that time. But
That's
he was just too
incredible.
excited.
I mean,
Same thing.
It is similar. There's a similar flavor, right? I just don't think I could ever condone if I ever saw one of my friends commenting on a porn thing.
Mhm.
I was, I'm like on my like deep, shame-ridden, just deep into the porn archives, right? And I just stumble upon, Zach just being like, "Oh, this girl's so hot, big tits." I would literally go to his house and shoot him in the head. For him.
Of course.
And like society at large.
Yeah.
That's what the comments say. Nice tits, big rack, so hot.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, dude, clearly. Right?
Yes.
That'd be like going to an ice cream place and just being like creamy, dairy, milky. It's like, yes.
And that guy's there, and he's like, "Thank you for coming to my ice cream store. I started with 1, and now I have 100 ice cream. All my employees are ice cream. You can try a sample of me.
Everything in this establishment is ice
It
cream.
is ice cream." All right. Well, before we get out of here, 'cause this is a fun first episode, I had a great time. I want to do a thing. You let me know if you want to do this thing, and then we'll do our plugs and get out of here. I'm gonna give you a celebrity for you to try to do an impression of,
Nice.
and then also a scenario, and then you try and do it.
Sick. And then
Okay.
the same goes back to you.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I want you to do Ray Romano if he were Han Solo talking to Greedo in the cantina.
All right. All right. I don't know Ray Romano all that well, but is he was the fucking Manny in Ice Age?
He was Manny in Ice Age.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I can be Manny in Ice Age as Han
Okay.
Solo.
Okay.
Oh God, I'm gonna get Jabba's money. You gotta give me some more time. You're a hack.
That's pretty good. That was pretty good.
You're a hack.
That was good. I enjoyed it. All right, hit me.
I'm kidding, Ray. All right. I want you to be Christian Bale.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be Christian Bale as
Like reading his diary right now.
as the Joker.
Okay.
I want you to be Christian Bale as fucking Dan in real life.
Okay.
Writing his first article about the Batman. Out loud.
About the Batman.
Yes.
About like the Batman the movie or Batman
About
the person?
Batman the Dark Knight. His review out loud.
Okay.
It's not the best one I've ever given anyone.
It's I don't remember Dan in real life all that well.
Okay,
But
better
here's-
than that. It's Christian Bale as Michael Scott.
At the Dundies?
At the Dundies. Perfect.
Okay. Oi, this next award goes to
Is he British?
yeah, he's from Wales.
Christian Bale?
Yes. Do you know who you're asking?
Christian Bale's an American.
No, he's not.
Am I wrong here?
Yes. Way wrong.
Christian Bale is British?
Yes. Yeah. You just think, do you want me to do Batman if he was doing the Dundies?
I've never heard him do a British accent.
Here's Christian Bale's.
I want Christian Bale in real life.
Okay. You've never heard the him freaking out on the guy on the set of Terminator Salvation?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like floating in and out of a British accent. And I'm not walking on this set if you're still here. That's what he sounds like.
Whoa.
Yeah. He is. He's a Peaky Blinder. Oh, this next award is the Don't Go In There award. After the time Kevin left a big stinky poo in the bathroom, that award goes to you. And the award for busiest beaver.
Dude, that sounds like Idris Elba.
Kind of, yeah. It's a little Idris Elba.
Do they speak the same way?
They're-
I'm fucking furious this dumb Brit has been playing my favorite American characters. He played American Psycho.
I know. And he was like, I do 1,000 push-ups and sit-ups a day.
He's the best
And
actor I've ever seen.
I watch myself fuck prostitutes in me bed. I hate this man's business cards. They're better than mine. I'm American Psycho.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, if you didn't know, Christian Bale was a British man who played Batman 3 times.
And Jack Kelly.
And Jack Kelly. Then, write us. Go to Going Dutch Comedy on Instagram. If you want to write into the show for anything, if you have a topic, a dating advice question that you think we should write down, throw in the bowl, you want to be anonymous or you want us to shout you out, Going Dutch Comedy on Instagram. We're going to get the YouTube channel and the email started, but as of right now, as of this first episode, we wanted to just get this one going, see how this feels. I think it feels pretty good. Zach, what do you think? He's just chilling, enjoying the show.
You said wonderful.
He
I
said
agree.
wonderful.
This has been a blast.
If you want to see a live Going Dutch show, again, all is at Going Dutch Comedy. You can also go to kaneholloway.com. I put my dates up there. And you can follow me personally at Kane Holloway on Instagram. Jake.
You can catch me at a bunch of shows in San Diego and LA. You can find that at my link tree in my bio and my Instagram at Short Jakes. You can check me out on Spotify. Stay tuned for more Going Dutch shows and places to see me and Kane live. It's a good time. It's a riot.
Yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff coming up that we have in the works. This podcast being one of them, and a bunch of different live shows. That when we get this thing running, I'm going to be very excited to announce all of them. For all those guys that are just like listening, and I know this is our first episode, and if I hear from any one single person that says, just started listening to the new show, and I'm excited about it, I will make my fucking day.
Yep.
Make my whole year.
You can join us on our winter retreat. We're actually in
That's
need
our
of
winter shit, so
of an NPC like
Yeah.
you.
if you want to be murdered.
Or
by-
be a murderer.
Oh, yeah, you can be the murderer, too. However, we are off limits. Until we decide to end the podcast, then the way we'll go out is one of us will die.
A murder-suicide whodunit.
Ah, that's good, too.
Who murdered, who suicided.
I love it. That's the end of the show. Do we have a sign-off? Do you want to sign us off?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. This is probably I don't even need to be here. I really, truly, it could just be Jake doing this.
The end.
That was great.